Cavemen didn't grunt and swing clubs first. They negotiated first. You probably pictured early humans as pure savages, always one bad day away from killing each other over a piece of meat. That picture is wrong. Some of the oldest evidence of human behavior we have isn't about violence at all. It's about deals. Real deals struck across hundreds of miles, tens of thousands of years before anyone wrote a single word down. No permanent war camps, no standing armies, just quiet, patient deal-making, generation after generation. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll understand why making peace, not war, might be the exact move that let our entire species survive at all. Let's set the scene properly first. Picture southern Africa, somewhere around 100,000 years ago. Early Homo sapiens live in small bands, maybe 25 people, tops. Everyone knows everyone. There's no backup plan, no neighboring city to call for help when things go wrong. Food comes from hunting, gathering roots and berries, and fishing along a river when the season allows it. Shelter is whatever the land provides that week, a rock overhang, a windbreak of branches, sometimes nothing at all except open sky and a small fire kept burning through the night. A single bad drought can wipe out a season's worth of food in a matter of weeks. Groups simply can't survive alone forever, no matter how tough they think they are. Sooner or later, every band needs its neighbors, whether they like those neighbors or not. Here's the twist that changes everything. Archaeologists keep digging up ostrich eggshell beads and chunks of red ochre in places over 100 kilometers from where those materials actually formed. That's not an accident. Someone carried those items a long way. Or more likely, groups handed them off, band to band, over long distances, long before roads, maps, or wheels existed anywhere. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherers found something almost identical still happening today, in real time. The Juhwanzi San people of the Kalahari call their version Hxaro. It's a structured gift exchange system passed down for generations. You give someone something now, you get something back later, sometimes years later. No rush at all. There's no haggling involved, no threats, no weapons pulled out, just patient trust, built one small exchange at a time. Picture how one single shell might travel. A coastal band collects it near the water. They trade it inland for dried meat. The next band trades it again, further inland still, for a stone tool or a bundle of fiber cord. By the time that shell reaches a group 300 kilometers away, dozens of people have touched it, and nobody involved has ever met everyone else in the chain. That only works if strangers trust strangers, at least a little, based on reputation alone. No writing, no contracts, just a shared understanding that cheating the system ends the system for everyone, for every single person still counting on it down the chain. Break that trust once, and word travels faster than you'd expect across an open landscape with no roads at all. Faster than the actual shell itself ever could. So why negotiate instead of simply fighting it out? Reason one comes down to brutal, unforgiving math. In a small hunter-gatherer band, a serious injury can be a death sentence, full stop. There's no hospital nearby, no antibiotics waiting in a cabinet, no painkillers to get you through the week. A broken leg from a fight could mean you can't hunt anymore, can't run from a lion chasing you, can't feed your own children when winter hits hard. Even a minor wound could turn deadly within days, once infection set in, and nobody had any way to stop it. Every physical fight was a gamble with your entire future, not just a bruised ego for a day. Compare that to a heated argument at work today. Annoying? Sure. Maybe a little embarrassing. Not fatal, though. Not even close. For early humans, violence carried a real price tag. One that makes our modern arguments look completely, laughably free by comparison. Reason 2 is about surviving pure bad luck. The kind nobody can plan around. Hunting is wildly unreliable, even for the best hunters in any group. Some days you catch absolutely nothing, no matter how hard you try. If your group had already traded favors with a neighboring band, you could walk over and simply ask for food. They'd remember you helped them last winter, and debts like that matter deeply. This safety net didn't come from pure kindness or warm feelings alone. It came from a cold, calculated strategy passed down through generations. Groups that built trust and trade networks simply outlasted the groups that refused to. Reciprocity wasn't just a nice idea back then, something for feeling good stories. It was survival software, quietly running in the background of nearly every single decision a band made. There's a third reason too, and it might be the biggest one of all. Language lets humans do something no other animal could manage well. Track reputation across time and distance without needing a direct memory of every single event. You didn't have to witness someone breaking a promise yourself. Someone else could simply tell you, around a fire days or weeks later. That gossip, and yes, it really was basically gossip, worked like a credit score for trust. Cheaters got a bad reputation fast, and reputations traveled faster than any single person could walk. Good traders and fair dealers got remembered kindly for years, invited back into deals long after the original exchange was forgotten by everyone else involved. That single feature turned small-scale cooperation into something that could scale across dozens of unrelated bands at once. Now here's where these two reasons start working together. They don't just sit side by side doing their own separate thing. They stack, and the results compound over time. Avoiding injury keeps you alive today, right now, in this moment. Building trust keeps you fed tomorrow and next month and next winter too. Put both together, and you get something genuinely powerful. A community that solves problems with words instead of weapons, because words are cheaper, safer, and far more reliable every single time you use them. That combination didn't just help scattered individuals survive one bad season. It helped entire bands outcompete rival groups that resolve every disagreement with fists or spears instead. Let's fast forward to right now, to your actual life today. We still run on the exact same ancient wiring, believe it or not. Negotiation shows up everywhere you look, once you notice it. Salary talks with your boss. Splitting rent with a roommate. Deciding who cooks dinner tonight. Again, we just don't call any of it Hxaro anymore. Though the instinct underneath hasn't changed one bit. What's actually changed isn't the instinct itself. It's the stakes riding on it. Losing a negotiation today might sting your ego for one uncomfortable afternoon. Losing one back then could cost your children their very next meal. Same brain, same ancient instinct, completely different pressure sitting quietly behind every decision. Even something as small as splitting a bill at dinner taps into that same old circuitry, the quiet mental math of who gave what and who owes who next time. Here's the part that genuinely surprises most people when they first hear it. Organized warfare, real planned group violence between different communities, shows up surprisingly late in our long human story. Sites like Nadaruk in Kenya and Jebel Sahaba in Sudan show clear, disturbing evidence of group conflict between people. But those sites date to only around 10 to 13,000 years ago, give or take. That sounds ancient to us, sure, until you compare it against trade networks stretching back over 100,000 years before that. Cooperation came first, by a massive margin. War came later, much later than most people assume. It arrived once people finally started settling down, claiming fixed pieces of land, and storing food that suddenly became worth stealing from someone else. Something a small mobile band with nothing to defend never really had to worry about. Think carefully about what that timeline actually means for a second. For roughly 90% of human history, negotiation was already doing the heavy lifting behind the scenes. Long before anyone built a wall or sharpened a spear specifically for battle, people were trading beads, sharing meat after a good hunt, and making promises to total strangers they might not see again for years at a time. That's not some soft, feel-good rewrite of history invented to make us feel better. It's genuinely what the physical evidence shows again and again across multiple continents. Violence didn't vanish once humans started negotiating more. It simply became one option among several, and usually the single most expensive one available. There's one more detail worth knowing, and it might change how you see your pets or documentaries forever. Negotiation isn't even uniquely human behavior, not even close. Chimpanzees reconcile after fights surprisingly often, grooming each other calmly minutes later like nothing violent happened at all. Researchers watching wild chimp communities have documented this pattern for decades now, and it shows up again and again across different groups. Bonobos take that instinct even further, diffusing rising tension with food sharing and social bonding, instead of any aggression whatsoever. In some bonobo groups, actual physical violence between adults is almost unheard of, which still surprises people who assume all primates settle disputes with force. Our closest living relatives already carried the basic toolkit for peacemaking. Humans simply scaled that toolkit up, dramatically. We added complex language, long-term memory across generations, and the ability to track exactly who owes who a favor from years earlier. That single upgrade turned simple animal reconciliation into full-blown human diplomacy. So what does all of this evidence actually prove when you step back and look at it? It proves that the kill or be killed version of prehistory you've seen in movies is mostly pure fiction, dressed up as fact. Our ancestors survived by trading, trusting, and striking careful deals long before they ever organized formally for war. The real superpower that carried our species this far wasn't the spear, sharp as it was. It was the handshake, or whatever gesture counted as 100,000 years ago. A shared meal offered freely, a returned favor remembered for years, a promise kept across a long distance and an even longer stretch of time. Every one of those small acts added up quietly into the cooperative species you belong to right now. Next time someone confidently tells you humans are naturally violent by design, remember the ochre and the beads. Remember Hxaro, quietly running for thousands of generations before anyone ever kept a written record of anything. Negotiation isn't some modern invention layered casually on top of a violent species underneath. It's older than farming, older than cities and kings, older, honestly, than organized war itself. It's woven so deeply into how we think that we barely notice it running quietly in the background of an ordinary day. So here's the real question for you. Would you have made a fair trade back then, or quietly kept everything for yourself instead? Tell me your honest answer down in the comments right now. And if you want the next deep dive into how your ancestors really lived, day to day, hit subscribe, because this story is far from finished yet.